Cyberpunk 2077 is a role-playing game, and it's quite ambitious when it comes to the relationships you can form with in-game NPCs. In this video, we're going to talk about what effect your character customizations can have on relationships, how relationships work, and who you can potentially bed in Cyberpunk 2077. When you launch into Night City, the first thing you get to do is customize your character and choose who you want to be. The choices that you make here will influence who you can and cannot romance throughout the game. So your choice of either a male or female body, or even the choice of male or female voice, will directly influence the world around you. If you're interested in learning more about the customization options in Cyberpunk 2077, I've covered this in another video, so I will link that in the pinned comment as well as in the description of the video. Not only do these characteristics influence the world around you, but also the life path that you choose can directly impact who you can and cannot romance. Just like in the real world, people have their own preferences on who they are and are not attracted to. So, if you don't have the characteristic that NPC is attracted to, well, you're just out of luck. Pavel Sasko, who is a lead quest designer at CD Projekt Red, explains, "So in terms of romances, you can think that it's going to be similar to how The Witcher 3 was. There were whole plot lines regarding character, and if NPCs were treated well and interested in Geralt, something was happening. So here it's going to be very similar. And of course, players will have way more options than only heterosexual, as it was in The Witcher 3, as Geralt was a defined character and was only interested in females. Here you can define what type of interactions your character prefers and have a relationship with that NPC or NPCs. A quest designer by the name of Patrick Mills expanded on this in an interview with Game Informer. At the time he said, "Unlike in The Witcher 3, in this one, it's up to you to decide. We've got NPCs that are gay, we've got NPCs that are bi, we've got NPCs that are straight, because we want them to feel real, and they have their own preferences as well." He also said, "You are defining your own character here, which means defining their sexuality any way you want." Ever since CD Projekt Red has revealed footage of Lizzie Barr's favourite braindance technician, Judy, a lot of fans have already fallen head over heels in love with this female character. It has been confirmed by people who have got their hands on the game and played some hours of it that she is a romance option, but there may be a catch. There is a lot of speculation online that she may only be a romance option for a female V. This is because of, out of the handful of people that got to playtest the game, only the people with a female character had the option of flirtatious dialogue with Judy. This doesn't mean that she's not bi, but it does look like she is definitely interested in a female V character. Also, in a podcast with Alana Pierce, Patrick K. Mills also went on to say that we've already seen all the romance options. So who do you think they are? We know that Judy is a romance option, and I'm pretty sure Meredith Stout will be one in the Corporal life path, and Panam, who is in the Nomad life path, will also be a romance option. And I think that Misty and Jackie could also be high potential for love interests for your character. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. GameStop's Phil Hornshaw also got to playtest the game early and give us a lot of insight on how these romance options will work. So the more time that you spend with a potential love interest and help them out when they need a hand, the more they can possibly become attracted to you and you start to create a deeper relationship. The game keeps track of the dialogue responses you have with different characters and what attitude you have towards them. So if you're nice to them, they may call you from time to time with some unique story quests, and you'll be able to deepen that bond with them and unlock new dialogue options with them as you progress through a relationship. He said it doesn't look like these requests are timed either, and that when you get them, they're just added to your quest logs. So if you're heading down a different narrative, you could possibly come back and pick up where you left off. They can also apparently just message you to see how you're doing and check in with you, so you might get a message on your phone which you'll be able to see in an icon on the bottom right of your screen. So if you want to reply to them, you'll have a few different options which could possibly influence how they will treat you the next time you see them. So I definitely think that could be interesting. He said that the relationships also come across as being organic, so you don't have like a meter in the bottom that fills up or goes down every time you say something nice or mean to them. So you really do have to just play this by ear and kind of pick up on some subtle cues that someone might be dropping. So you'd really want to be careful on what you say to people in case you lock that door forever, because there's going to be certain parts of this game that will be only accessible through certain characters, and if you want to play those particular parts, that character is going to have to like you to give you that mission option. On the other hand, some choices that you make will have no impact whatsoever, or they could both lead to the same conclusion with just some very minor variations in both. If you actively go out of your way to make them dislike you, you could really run the risk of completely closing off an entire quest line. Or you could be in a mission where you have like two options, we'll say like spare someone or kill somebody, and that could have a direct impact on how another character views you that you mightn't have even met yet. Of course, if you don't want to put that time in but still want to see this kind of aspect of Night City, you always have sex workers and dollhouses. Dollhouses are an interesting concept in the world of Cyberpunk. Imagine you have people who have specific cyberware that allows them to attune to their client. Then, after the deed is done, it allows them to forget whatever it was that they just did. So, let's just say that this sex worker or doll is attuned to you. They can realize your deepest fantasies, the things that are pushed down deep in your subconscious. Maybe your character V doesn't even know what's down there, which could make for some very interesting cutscenes. Another interesting relationship that you'll have to balance in Cyberpunk 2077 is your relationship with Johnny Silverhand. In the game, Johnny's digital consciousness is inserted into your head via a microchip, and he essentially haunts you. Throughout the game, he can pop in on you in various situations. Sometimes he'll just be there around you, watching, and other times he'll comment and give his views on a current situation. He might even know some information on the people and the NPCs that you interact with in the world, and it's up to you whether or not you're going to believe him and believe what he's telling you. Your relationship with Johnny Silverhand will easily be the most important in this game. And like the other relationship that you have, this one will be organic, so you can be short with him and be angry with him and distrust him, or you could be nice to him and actually trust him and try to work with him as a team. We still don't know exactly what Johnny's agenda is, but it's definitely worth keeping your guard up, I think, with him. So as you can see, there's going to be a lot of depth in Cyberpunk 2077 when it comes to relationships. Be it with platonic relationships where you might have common goals, or be it with romantic relationships. You're really going to want to weigh up what you say to people and weigh up your actions and think about how your actions might impact that person that you want to romance or befriend, for example.
You're a dick, you know? And you're a...
We all know that Cyberpunk 2077 is going to be an adult game. Its ESRB rating included a laundry list of mature themes and will be full of adult content, including intense violence, use of drugs and alcohol, and of course, nudity. However, those players who don't want to be exposed will be able to actually turn off this option. On Twitter, we've seen a lot of people have interest in how nudity will be handled in Cyberpunk 2077. One Twitter user called Trusty Pill asked, "Is there a setting to turn nudity off, like a censor mode?" To which Lucas Babiel replies, "Yes." This is a huge feature. Not only does this help content creators like myself with YouTube breathing down my back, but also it's good for gamers who have children who may be walking in and out of the room. Also, if you're a younger player who managed to get your hands on a copy of Cyberpunk, you may not want your parents to walk in and find you sampling the wares of a sex worker in Night City. I presume that they would have had to have censored versions for certain countries anyway to make sure that they adhere to the individual countries' laws and rating systems. So the ability for everyone to toggle this on and off is a welcome addition. Alana Pierce hosted a podcast with Tom Marks from IGN and Phil Hornshaw from GameSpot, who both had hands-on gameplay with Cyberpunk 2077. This podcast covers a lot of things, but also touches off how the game is going to handle this adult theme and romance options in the game. Phil said he saw a lot of nudity in his playthrough of the game. Although he didn't say he saw any male nudity, Tom did confirm that there was male nudity in the character creation. So maybe it's just because Phil was playing as a male V instead of a female V, and that's what his choices led to. One part in the podcast I thought was hilarious is that Tom talks about how he started one side quest where he thought he was just going to deliver a package somewhere, and he walks into a room and is immediately into a sex scene. The sex scenes are all in first person, by the way, and he says although he didn't get any health perks afterwards, he was rewarded with a dildo on a bad as a melee weapon. So we really could be walking around with a crazy arsenal in Night City. Phil did say that if you have seen nudity in The Witcher 3, that it's not too far removed from what you would have experienced in that game. I also spotted Rafael Yakel, who is one of the devs who works on Cyberpunk, tweet out how there's already a porn parody made of Cyberpunk 2077. as this is getting released before the official game, I don't think that this will be canon with the lore of Cyberpunk. But as Raphael says, mimicking is the highest form of praise. So that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, why not consider leaving a comment below and a like? It really does help with the algorithm. And if you really like this content, why not consider subscribing and sticking on notifications? This makes sure that you get notified the next time I post a Cyberpunk 2077 video. There's not long left till we all get our hands on the copy, so can't wait to see you all in Night City.